Hello, and welcome back to the overview on Anagame. In this video, we will trace the route of a click from when Windows sends the message to when the event handler method is called. Specifically, we will look at what happens when the user clicks the left mouse button and then releases it. Before we do that, we first have to look at how an event handler is set up. Recall that the event handler class itself is abstract and thus requires a subclass to implement the virtual methods. The header for a specific subclass will typically define a method type. The class will then define a T-data array for this method type. We will also define a list of structures that hold a string representing a method name and a number representing an ID. The constructor must set this structure and add to it the list of ID method name mappings, and usually add the corresponding method to the list of methods. The interface parser uses the method name ID map to identify when a control is supposed to generate an event given certain circumstances, and apply that ID to the control. Therefore, when the right messages are sent and the control receives them, it will report the event. As shown in the previous video, the message first reaches the whenProc function the application created. This function must quickly call the proc method of the T-instance class. The proc method then uses the window handle parameter to determine the appropriate window to send the message to. Once the window receives the message, it then determines the appropriate page to send it to based off of the point listed in the message and the location in the page. Once the page is identified, the page will then call its root control. The root control will first attempt to call the method on its children. If a control deduces that it is the recipient of a click, it will add itself to the list of controls that were clicked. If a control also detects that it has an event related to the message, it will reset its local argument struct and set it according to what the event is. It will also generate an event ID, cred ID, which it places in a T-data array provided by the method call. The list of event IDs is then sent to the handle events method. In this method, a reference to the T-control that raised the event is acquired, and through it, the arguments for the event are retrieved. The method ID is provided, which, if the handler was programmed correctly, is the index of the method that needs to run. Pages also hold the list of controls that were clicked under the L button down message. This ensures that when they are alerted to that mouse button being released, they let the controls know that. Each page will also get this call, so any control listed in the previous message will be alerted. As of this script, the base T control does not keep track of having the button come down, and so a true click is not detected. Some controls, like the T-data control, do keep track. Hopefully, all T controls are fixed by the time you watch this video. A final topic worth mentioning is the means through which save is done on the T-IDE window. Each mini-app has a main page handler with others supplementing it. The mini-app should let the handler know which app holds it. When the handler detects that it is being shown and focuses on it, the handler should let the IDE window page set that mini-app as the current app. If the IDE window has a mini-app set as the current app, it will call the abstract method onSave. The mini-app can then call the onSave method of its main handler. In the next video, we will cover animations in Anagame.